Good morning, guys. This is Wayne again with Life After the Time Clock with another video for you today. You know, when I was working, I thought once I paid the house off, my household, and got most of my bigger bills paid off, that life in retirement would be much easier than it is. I quickly found out that it's pretty far from the truth because of the way things are right now. So stick around, and we're going to talk about those things and some ways that maybe we can mitigate those things. As seniors years ago when we were working and we was in our 30s and 40s, we thought, hey, we can do this. I remember years ago, everybody talked about if you had $1 million when you retired, you would be in great shape. And now, you need quite a bit more than that, they say. However, I'm not going to talk about how much money you can have in your bank to survive. We know that people with that kind of money can survive. We're talking about us, people like us who have worked all their life, scraped and scratched their way through this life. Finally, you have your mortgage paid off. Maybe you don't, but some of you do. Either way, you think, okay, I've got everything under control now, and I can retire in 10 years, or I can retire in 5 years. That's your thought. And then those 10 years pass by, and then those 5 years pass by. And what you expected is totally different than reality in retirement. You hear about people talking about, oh, so and so's, they're living on the beach, they're doing this, they're doing that, they're traveling, all these things, and that's good because some people can afford to do that. You're talking about people who, uh, 300,000, 400,000, $500,000 homes. Yeah, they can do those things, but us normal people, us blue collar people who, we scratch our living, we can't afford to do those things. Do you think that for those of you that have retired, do you think that retirement is cheaper or more expensive than you thought it would be? Let me know in the comments. Okay, so one of the ways that it's a lot higher than we thought it would be, grocery prices, food prices. Um, it's in orbit, man. I remember it wasn't just a couple, 2 or 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago. My wife and I go shopping with her and help her because we try to plan out how much money and how much we want to spend for groceries for that month. And I'm going to take you on one of those grocery trips down the road and show you what we do to kind of help save money. Um, we sometimes we buy for the future, knowing that we don't need it at the moment, but that we'll need it in the future for several reasons, and we'll talk about those things. But grocery prices have went up, especially lately with the thing going on with Iran. Gas prices have rocketed up, and along with gas prices, everything else goes up, and especially groceries. Um, so we don't eat out as much as we used to, right? Eating out costs a lot of money. Sometimes we'll go eat out, my wife and I, and we'll take two grandkids and another girl, little great grandchild, and just us, well over $100, 140, $150 to eat out. That's a lot of money, and I'm not talking about an expensive place or a 5-star restaurant. I'm talking about somewhere, Cracker Barrel. So uh, that's the problem. That's the first problem of retirement for me. I retired. See, it's been about 9 months ago, and it hit me. The prices of groceries shocked me. When you're working and making money, and you got money each week, and even though we scraped by, we had a little money extra. Maybe, I don't know, I can't remember how much, but it wasn't nothing great. We couldn't go fly to Paris on it, but we had a little bit left, and so grocery prices didn't really reflect in my brain about how it's going to be. So when I retired, and now when I go grocery shopping, it's like, man, that's going to take all my money for this week. It's going to take my entire budget to buy groceries this week. So that's one of the things that why retirement is much higher and much different than I thought it would be so far. The next thing we want to talk about is insurance. Your home insurance, your vehicle insurance, health insurance, and prescription costs. All those things add up in retirement and they will hit you like a bombshell. Um, Insurance for your house and for your car, and that's went up dramatically as well. Even though, like for me, I've not had a Lord, thank you, knock on wood, whatever. I thank you, the Father above, that I haven't had a accident in so many years. I haven't had a ticket in probably 20 years, and yet our insurance is not cheap, right? And that helps to cut your money down that you have each month. The next is your health costs. As we get older, as baby boomers retire, we're becoming more and more noticeable that our bodies are failing us. It's the circle of life, and it's going to happen to everyone. And so, as we got to see doctors more often, guess what? We have to pay more for copays, specialized doctors visits, so forth and so on and so procedures, procedures, outpatient procedures, all this, the hospital stays, all this adds up on us, right? And so that hits us really hard. That's something I never thought about when I was looking forward to retirement. It never dawned on me about my health care costs and how much those things would cost me, right? I can't even remember once thinking about it. When I got in retirement, bam, I'm like, man, this knee hurts or this hip's bothering me. I gotta go see a doctor about this, right? Never thought about that. And then your prescription costs. That goes along with your healthcare costs. So, as you see more and more doctors and more things become happening to you and wrong with you, guess what? Huh. Your medicines cost more, right? You have to pay more for the medicines. Some of those medicines, specialized medicines, and you have to pay more for those out of pocket. Yeah, you have your Medicare, Medicaid, and that will pay so much. But as we all know, you have to jump through hoops for Medicare and Medicaid to pay for anything, right? So that was probably the biggest shock for me in retirement is health care costs, prescription costs, and hospital visits, hospital stays, more so than anything else, more than even food. I remember just last year, I had to have a gallbladder removal. Here I am, 60 years old, and all of a sudden I'm started having awful pains. I had to have a gallbladder removal. Well, yeah, Medicare paid for a lot of that, but guess who had to pay out of pocket for it? The rest. I did. That's what I'm talking about. And then the next thing I'll talk to you about is I never thought about this either. It's almost as much as the healthcare. I never thought about, I couldn't wait to get. We used to say we was going to retire to the beach. Then I thought, well, we're going to buy a little farm, something small that we can manage. So we bought almost, right at close to 20-acre farm. And so the cost of that property never dawned on me before I retired, right? I just did what I needed to do and everything was fine. And like I said, you have a little bit of money left over. Um, but now that I'm retired, that has slapped me right in the face. What am I talking about? Well, obviously, I'm talking about property tax every year for number one. Property tax on our place keeps going up, 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 up. That's number one. Two, I have out of my 20 acres, probably 40% of that is open fields. Well, if I don't mow those fields, that's going to grow up and be wooded lands, and I don't want that for several reasons. I can grow a garden on it. I can. It's beautiful to look at. We can do all kinds of activities on it. So I keep it mowed. Mowing costs. We had to just go buy a brand new mower, and I had to get a decent one because I got about at least 4 acres, 5 acres of grass to mow. Then the other part, someone else mows for their part. So that's the other couple acres. But yeah, I have to mow that much. It's a lot. Now we went and bought almost a $5,000 mower to mow all the acres because You can't mow that much acreage with just anything, right? You got to have a mower that's going to hold up over time. That's what we had to buy, and so that ate into my retirement. Repairs, you have repairs on your home, repairs on your cars because you don't want to go out and buy a new car now because that's going to be a big payment each month that you don't want, and so you have to worry about repairs, repairing your car, repairing my tractor. I got a new mower, so I don't have to worry about that for a little while. But soon I'm gonna have to replace blades and belts and things, and that's roofs on your house. All the equipment that you use. I got all kind. I got all this equipment I use. I got a side by side. I just paid it off, and then I got to worry about repairs for it, maintenance for it. You can't. I can't. I've tried. I sold my last side by side. I try to make it without one, but on that much land, I just can't get it done. I have to have something to haul my tools around and my equipment around to do things on the farm that I never would have thought I had to do. Right. So that's another cost. And then along with that, you have unexpected expenses. What do I mean by that? Like, what I mean is it hasn't happened yet, but it almost did. We had to replace a water heater last year for our home. Well, I had to pay completely 100% out of pocket for that. Insurance don't pay for stuff like that. If you have my AC unit goes out in my house, that's going to be an unexpected expense that I did not budget for, and now it's going to be a crunch on me living for the rest of the month or the rest 3 or 4 months. Because if you've seen AC prices, you know exactly what I'm talking about. They're completely out of hand, and so that's one of the things I'm talking about when I say unexpected expenses. Next, we have a huge unexpected expense that I never even thought about. So when I was planning for my retirement and I was budgeting and I was thinking how much money I'm going to have each month left over after everything, can I make it? And I'm like, yes, I can. Then all of a sudden, now I'm in retirement and all these things are hitting me bam, 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 bam that were unexpected. I've already went over two of them. Here's another one for you. Helping your family. Well, I never dreamed about how much I would be spending helping my family, right? Because you don't think about that because you're helping your family, but in retirement you think about it because that takes away money you had planned for the rest of the month. And what do I mean by that? Well, we still many of us still watch our babysit our grandchildren or our great grandchildren while the parents go to work, and many times we have to have gas to take them to their appointments, to their school events, or maybe even to and back from school every day. Uh, we were taking them all over the place. Um, then there's, birthdays. We spend a lot of money on birthdays for our family. And there's, usually you have a lot of family, seems like there's a birthday every month. And here, there's $50, $75 you didn't think, maybe even 100 that you were going to spend this month. But then this birthday comes up and you can't not buy something or help someone with something for their birthday. So you spend money there. And then there's Christmases and there's Easters and there's a bunch of other holidays. Uh, and then you talk about Thanksgiving, you prepare a big meal and all the family comes over, and that's another expense. It's usually a huge expense. And what I'm talking about, those are things that you did not plan for before you retired. And now you're actually spending money on those things that you never budgeted for. That's what I'm talking about. This is a third one. And then there's emergencies, even like someone gets sick and they have to stay in the hospital. You may have to help them with a hospital bill. You may have to help them with the parents or the family with room and board at a hotel or gas back and forth too. Or maybe someone's car breaks down and they can't get to work anymore. And now you have to help them get their car fixed so they can get to work. All right. That's all expenses that you did not prepare for, and now you're having to pay it each month, and it's almost monthly. Well, it is monthly, 100% monthly. You're spending money, or it is for me. What about you guys? Let me know in the comments. It is money that I have to spend. So when I'm talking about these things, I'm trying to prepare you for retirement. Now, don't get discouraged. I'm not telling you all this to discourage you from retiring. I want you to retire, and I want you to be happy. But I'm trying to set you up so you know exactly what you're getting into if you're not retired already. And if you are retired and you're wondering, where's the money going each month? These things will help you understand where the money is going each month, right? That's why I'm doing this. I'm doing this to help me and hopefully, God willing, help you guys. Okay. So, in fact, I know from talking to other people in my own life, many retirees spend way more money. I mean, much more money on their family than they ever planned or dreamed of before they retired. And I'm not saying that as a bad thing. Don't get me wrong. I will help my family till I'm in the grave, no matter which one it is or who it is. I'll try to help them best I can, right? What kind of person will we be if we can't be there for our families? I'm just saying it's an unexpected expense we didn't plan for. It's a big one. And then here's another expense you didn't think of. When you're waiting to be retired again and you're planning how much money I can have each month, can I make it? Bam, travel costs come falls into place, right? And some of it is travel costs that you didn't. It's not vacation. We talked about emergencies a while ago. Maybe you got a son or a daughter or a grandchild lives 5 states over, and you have to something happen. You have to get there. You have to go there. Travel costs is a big one. Fuel especially. You know, even just going to back and forth to the store to get groceries is money and gas. If you have to go to several doctor appointments a month, that's gas money, and sometimes you have to pay parking fees, right? And then sometimes if you have to stay out of town, there's hotel fees, and even the restaurants because you can't cook in a hotel, but you still have to eat, right? And then sometimes we're talking. Some of it is planned. We want to go somewhere. Maybe we want to go take our family to the beach. Just a simple, cheap, economical trip to the beach. Well, like that's not going to cost that much, but then it does end up costing them quite a bit because like I said, fuel costs, hotel costs, restaurant costs, and toll road costs, and all the parking costs, and all these things add up to way more money than you expected to spend for travel. And it's one of the things you may plan before you retire. You may plan and say, hey, so I'm going to try to take a trip once a year. You may plan for that in your budgeting to see if you can retire. But a lot of times we will forget the extra cost added to traveling or to vacationing: fuel costs, hotel costs, restaurant costs, emergency costs, those kinds of things. So that's another one. My family and I right now are on the beach. I'm filming this from a beach somewhere, and we drove to the beach, and it cost way more fuel than I thought it was going to. I'll be honest with you, I was surprised by, and we got to spend that much going back. Then money on food was way more than we thought we was going to have. We rented a small little like apartment on Airbnb. We found out taking our entire family is cheaper that way than trying to get 2 or 3 rooms at a hotel. So we tried to get an Airbnb. That's what we did. So we can cook here. And so we have been doing that to save money on restaurant costs. That's one of the ways it can help you. But it's still, when we went to the store and bought the groceries for the week, oh my goodness, it's so much more than I thought it'd be. I mean, I was shocked how much it was. You know, I usually spend maybe $400 a month on groceries. Now I spend $400 just for this one week on groceries. And that's not even counting anything else we buy, eating out or little snacks and all that stuff. So that's another big one that we don't expect before we retire: travel costs. Then there's quite a bit of unexpected expenses that nobody talks about, and I watched a lot of videos about retiring before I started this channel because I want to see if I could add anything to what's already been done on teaching people about retirement. And I don't really see much people talking about the hidden costs. We talked about some of them already. Replacing appliances, your range goes bad, right? You have to get a new stove. Um, Matter of fact, we have to replace the refrigerator soon, and I don't know how we're going to do it. Ours is it's about 10 years old, and it's got a lot of problems. And so we're going to have to figure something out soon. I'm afraid it's going to be this summer for sure. We didn't expect that. And then you got medical copays. I kind of hit on those a while ago. Even if you do budget for healthcare, you say, okay, I've got this problem, and you're going into retirement with this problem. You're like, I can budget this much a month for this problem. But then all of a sudden, something else pops up. Like I told you about the gallbladder a while ago. That was so unexpected. That copay was quite substantial, and 100%, I did not expect that. My first 9 months. So it, it was a big one for me. And then, vehicle repairs. Like I said, you don't want to go into retirement with a vehicle payment if you can help it. So you try to drive your car you have right now till it's completely shot. And doing so, there's a lot of, like, okay, let me ask you, you getting ready to retire or you have retired, did you budget for tire replacements on your car? Did you budget for battery replacement on your car, brake replacement on your car? You probably didn't, because I know I didn't. You don't re- Those are unexpected, but you didn't budget for them, and now you're like, okay, that them brakes set me back $40 this month. And that's if you do it yourself. If you can't do it yourself, you have to have someone. It's a couple $100 at least, and you weren't expecting that this month, right? So those add up, and then the biggest one that adds up unexpectedly is your home. There's always something, especially if you're home. A lot of people, if you're retired now and you've had this home 30, 40 years, you're starting to get unexpected repairs on your home, and those happen often. Sometimes not too bad, but sometimes they're very. A roof replacement, for instance. My brother-in-law and his wife are retired as well, and they've already had to spend over $5,000 to get a roof replaced. And that home is only ain't that old at all, but they got some wind damage on their shingles, and now it's caused they'll have to have a roof replacement. They didn't expect that. That's a big cost for them. So those little things add up so much in a month, in a year, that you didn't budget for, right? That's another cost you did not plan for. Now we're into five things that are very substantial as far as finances go. uh, that takes money out of your budget that you plan for retirement. So why do some people go back to work? That's what I had to do, right? In the last video, we talked about going back to work and working part time. Now, sometimes we do it because unexpected things happen, unexpected financial burdens occur on us that we were not expecting and did not budget for and did not plan for before we retire. So now we're like, okay, I can't make it now because this roof cost me $5,000. It's going to take me, where, where am I going to get the money, first of all? And if I do pay it, it's going to take out my budget for another year or two. So I have to go back to work to pay for that roof. And then some people they want to go back so that they can have a more easy, comfortable retirement. That's why I did it. Um, well, I did it for both reasons. I did it to help because without me working a part-time job, it would be very difficult for us financially right now. And so I did it for that reason. And I also did it because if we need something or we want to take this trip like we did today, that kind of stuff helps if someone working part time. So it's not because they want a life of luxury. Don't If you see a senior citizen working, and some people may just brush off that, they're working because they want more money. They got all kinds of no. It's because if you see a senior citizen working, I can almost guarantee you 99.9% of the time it's because they have to. They're not doing it because they want to. It's because they have to. So maybe treat those people a little bit nicer, right? So they got a lot going on. Trust me, I know. So out of all of that, what surprised me the most? What hit me in the face the most? Well, honestly, probably all of it. It was like for me, but all those things happened that I just talked to you in retirement so far. I've had to have a procedure. I've had to have families. I've got a great granddaughter's getting ready to have a big surgery, and we're going to have to go and stay for weeks and take her back every week for that. I didn't plan on that before I retired. I'm going to have to help with that. And so we had a water heater go out. Thankfully, that was right before retirement, so that didn't happen, but it could have, right? So what surprised me the most? all of it. I mean, even this trip right now we're on right now surprised me how much it cost us. I wasn't expecting that. So, what surprised you if you're retired? What hit you the hardest? What really stood out to you and said okay and made you say okay, I'm going to have to go back to work part time? What happened? Okay, what made you do that? What is your grocery shopping experience? Is it like mine? Is things went so far higher that you can't even recognize it? You know, is your repair costs for your automobile surprise you the most? Your home repairs, taking care of your property. All we don't plan for those things, do we? It surprises us. What surprised you the most in retirement? Share your story in the comments below. I would love to hear from you about it because I'm trying to build this channel and I'm trying to learn more and I'm trying to get to the point where we can all benefit from this learning together of how we can better prepare ourselves for retirement. And if we are retired already, how we can go from here and have a better retirement. Okay. In closing, I'd just like to say, hang in there. We're getting here. I'm trying to lay it out for you and for myself like a path we can follow and prepare those of you that haven't retired yet what is coming. It's the stuff that no one else on YouTube or anywhere else is talking about, the hidden stuff that you don't see until you're already retired, right? And so I have ways. I've come up with a couple of things, and one of these you're really going to like, and I may try to bring it out in a couple next few videos. I'm trying to lay the groundwork first, though, so we can prepare. Because I can just throw this stuff at you, and you're like, okay, that's enough money. I can do that. But you forgot about all the hidden costs we're talking about today, and now you're like, oh, well, that didn't help me at all. So let's lay the groundwork first. So give me a few videos to lay all the groundwork, then we're going to start doing things and showing you ways and just hanging out, hanging out together. You share your story, I'll share my story, and we'll get through all this and we'll have a great retirement together. So I would love it if you come in down below, let me know what's going on in your life if you're a retiree. Maybe you got some advice for me. I would love to hear that. Maybe something I said helped you. I would love to hear that as well. Or maybe you just don't like me at all and you want to hate on me. I still want to hear from you. Believe it or not, I do. So God bless you. And I hope that God and pray that God treats you so well in retirement because you deserve it. I'll see you on the next one.